for listening to The Vurge, a thought leadership series by Divurgent. I'm your host, Shaillee Juneja. This series is for healthcare leaders and organizations navigating the journey to digital transformation in our ever changing landscape of our industry. Our goal in this series is to bring to you disruptive success strategies for healthcare organizations, leveraging our experience and having worked with some of industry's top experts and thought leaders. Before we get into today's episode, I'd like to invite you to leave us a review and let us know what you think about the episode and other questions that are top of your mind. With that, I'd like to welcome my first guest, my colleague, Sarah Brandt. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Sarah is a healthcare transformation leader with experience in leading organizations and teams through reimagining the consumer experience through use of digital solutions, analytics, and innovative approaches to outsources. And I'm so excited to have you as part of this conversation, Sarah.
Happy to be here.
Wonderful. Well, before we get started, I was thinking about it. Maybe we should start by demystifying this term digital front door. Such an overused term, digital front door, digital strategy. Really, what is it? I often get asked, is it a singular point of entry into consumers or patients' interaction with healthcare system through digital platforms like patient portal or scheduling or doc find? What is it? And I feel digital front door is really not one experience, but really an interconnected experience, interconnected ecosystem of consumers or patients' digital experiences in their healthcare journey. And it really could be with one care team, one organization, or multiple organizations. Which brings me to the key point about digital front door is being an ecosystem. It really is not about digitizing any one consumer experience, but really creating a system of interconnected experiences. What are your thoughts, Sarah?
Yeah, I think great point. People really wrestle with this term. So something someone once said to me was, "Well, we've already done this. I already have, transformed things digitally within my health system." Or I often hear, "I have a web portal. I have an app. What more do
Mhm.
I need?" And so, what we're really discussing, right, and helping to frame conversations with folks around is you can have these individual components, but think about how they fit together becomes really what creates that ecosystem as you just mentioned. And so I really encourage folks when they're thinking about their digital ecosystem is to not only think about those individual solutions they may already have in place, but then starting to think about how do they link together. Are they even perhaps duplicating some elements or creating inconsistency, and really shaping that
Mhm.
creates that nice digital ecosystem as well. And then more um, in an advancement of kind of thinking through, okay, not only what does our digital ecosystem look like today, is starting to position, are you creating an ecosystem that allows you to layer in additional innovative technologies or kind of in that white space as well? That may be something that takes folks some time to create that space, but I always encourage as you're looking for, what does this digital front door look like or experience, that you are leaving that room to start to add to it, especially as we see things really evolving within the healthcare and digital consumer experience space.
Oh, absolutely. It is evolving for sure. And really, I was reflecting on it. Several years ago, I had an opportunity here in Texas to work with a healthcare organization in the south part of Texas, where we at that time leveraged digital technologies to bring together the entire community. So, not just the hospitals or the providers, but really community resources like the EMS, like the grocery stores, the pharmacies, to really try to create a cohesive experience. And I remember at that time, it felt like, we're being ahead of the curve, a new innovative approach to healthcare. Yet I look at today, this digital transformation, this transition to digital ecosystem is really not a choice anymore. It's almost become a necessity for healthcare organizations to survive, to retain their market share or grow their market share. I think our pandemic has had a huge role in pushing the envelope in transition or migrating to digital platforms. It's being demanded by the consumers. It's the need of the market, but not just the consumers and the care teams. I think in general, how our healthcare industry is shifting, and really the entry of non-traditional healthcare players in our market space is really strongly influencing the pace at which we transition to digitize the healthcare experience. Have you observed that with clients you're working with, Sarah?
Yes, and so interesting that you bring up working with the health system where maybe what you dreamed of just a few short years ago now is reality. I have a similar experience. Someone
Hmm.
uh, who was an executive at a health system, we formed a small team, once said to me, "What if we could have them have a wearable and then we got them a ride to our facility? And right when they checked in, we knew what their heart rate was. And wouldn't it be funny if once they went back home, we could tell them not to pick up the donut as we kind of monitored their health?" It seemed funny at the time, but now when you think about advancement in technology, some of those aspects of that experience are not so far outside the question. But in terms of what's a necessity and what's a choice, we also see, right, consumers really are demanding a different type of experience. People interact with technology in such a different way than maybe they ever have before. And really, the different generational aspects really play into
Hmm.
how do we frame aspects of our digital strategy. So, even when we think about an individual consumer, do they like to receive things on an app? Do they like having notifications? Do they like to see where they are in a process? Or as we have an aging population, we have more caregivers who need to be able to see information about individuals or family members that may live in a different state, that they want to be just as up to speed on their care. And so all of that shapes kind of what are the expectations that people have to manage their health and well-being, and that it's not just episodic and we're not just developing technology for that point in time when you most need it, but it really just becomes so interwoven into your day-to-day life and your health.
Absolutely. It is not episodic. And, I remember at that time the whole idea of that patient's health journey doesn't stop when you leave the confines of your doctor's office or the hospital, but it is, we have this large grocery store presence here in Texas called HEB. When they go to HEB and when they are shopping for, I'm a diabetic patient, when they're shopping for the groceries, how do we work with them and give them personalized information? Hey, Shaillee, we know you're diabetic. You're working with your care team. Here are some recommendations and grocery lists for you. Here are some recipes for you. How do we be proactive and really provide information at not the point of care, but at the point of need? And really, this shift from what is so common in outside healthcare, personalized information, personalized experiences. I think as healthcare technology leaders, we're realizing it is not about creating these fragmented digital experiences, but to create a cohesive consumer experience that very well expands beyond the walls of brick and mortar healthcare organizations. So, personalization and creating of the cohesive patient experience, I feel, are sort of our next layer of maturation in this journey. Are you finding that with your clients?
Absolutely. So when we think about different digital consumer products, that aspect of personalization, hyper personalization that people don't even realize is happening as part of a layer of the technology becomes really important. Our health is very personalized. Why shouldn't our experience with digital products be the
Mhm.
same? But as we start to knit together these different elements of that digital ecosystem, I think the piece I always urge my clients to think about too is how do they harness the power of the data and the analytics that they're collecting, right? We know that other
Mhm.
key players in the tech market are doing that, and it really can help us drive some additional insight on how to best serve our patients, members, caregivers, and those who are such a big part of that healthcare landscape. So just thinking through as the landscape evolves, harnessing the power of all that data and the digital ecosystem really makes data a product in and of itself. And I know as we
Absolutely.
continue to talk further, I'm sure we'll touch more on that. But yeah, I think definitely the personalization and being able to extend that, leveraging that power of the analytics is key.
Oh, you've got this data, and I'm very excited to dive into that conversation on how do we harness the power of analytics to continue to personalize experience and for the organizations to really realize an ROI out of their investment in digital technologies. So more on that. But for now, I want to thank you for tuning into Vurge, a thought leadership series by Divergent. We at Divergent are your partners in the journey to digital transformation and all the pivots and challenges our industry is going through. To learn more about us, visit us on divergent.com and don't forget to check out the recent blog Sarah and I have co authored on best practices to implement digital strategy. Link to the article is available in the show notes. Join us again where Sarah and I continue to deep dive into the best practices to build and leverage digital ecosystem to engage your patients and generate value for your organization. Until then, have a great day and stay safe.